This is the story of a legendary sniper who could eliminate his target from several kilometers away, even with his eyes covered by a blindfold. But this sniper was once just an ordinary math teacher. He hated war and guns. But one day, a tragic event occurred in his life that turned him from a decent teacher into a ruthless sniper. The story begins in a small village in Ukraine, where we are shown a very simple and modest house. A couple lives in this house, happily spending their lives together. The man living in this house is named Mykola, and his wife's name is Nastya. Nastya was a drawing artist and used to carve wood to make various kinds of statues. Mykola is a teacher and teaches math to children at a nearby school. He is a very good teacher, and all the children are quite happy with him, except for one, whose name was Evan. Evan was a very ill-mannered boy. He used to trouble his teacher Mykola in class every day. Evan belonged to a rich family, while Mykola was a poor man. That's why Evan would also make fun of Mykola's looks and clothes. He wanted Mykola to get so fed up with his misbehavior that he would hit him, and then Evan could complain and get Mykola expelled from the school. But Mykola was a very calm person. Mykola was not affected by his words and lived happily in his own life. Because there were no electronic items like a TV in Mykola's house, he couldn't get news about the world. One day, when Mykola was at his school, he heard on the TV that Russia had attacked Ukraine. Many soldiers had been killed, and Russia had captured many places in Ukraine. In the evening, when Mykola came home, he found out that his wife was pregnant. He was very happy to hear this, because now Mykola was going to become a father. The two of them celebrated this happiness together. The next day, after saying goodbye to his wife, Mykola set off on his bicycle to teach the children at school. But while he was on the way, he saw two soldiers standing there, lighting cigarettes and wearing a different kind of uniform. That uniform was nothing like that of Ukrainian soldiers, which made him feel something was off. But Mykola thought that maybe the government had changed the soldiers' uniforms. That's why Mykola didn't pay much attention to it and quickly made his way to school. But when he entered the school, he saw that the entire school was completely empty. Not a single child had come to school. Seeing this, he felt that something was wrong. Just then, he saw the news on TV, which reported that Russian soldiers had entered Ukraine to take control. And now he realized that the soldiers he had seen on the way were actually Russian. Thinking this, he became worried about his wife because she was alone at home. He immediately got on his bicycle and rushed home, but by then it was already too late. When Mykola reached home, he saw that those two soldiers were brutally beating his wife. Mykola tried to save his wife, but those soldiers beat him up as well. Mykola pleaded with them, saying, "Please don't hit my wife, she is pregnant." But the soldiers didn't listen to him at all and kept beating both of them. After a while, a Russian soldier searched Mykola's house, and when he didn't find anything useful inside, he got angry and set Mykola's house on fire before leaving. Now, seeing her house burning, Nastya was furious with rage and picked up a stone to attack those Russian soldiers. Seeing this, one of the soldiers fired a shot, and Nastya died on the spot. Seeing his wife die, the ground slipped from under Mykola's feet. He went to his wife, took her in his arms, and broke down in tears. After a few hours had passed like this, two Ukrainian soldiers came to Mykola. Seeing Mykola's wife dead, both soldiers felt deep regret and placed a hand on Mykola's shoulder, telling him not to lose hope. After that, the two soldiers began digging a grave for Mykola's wife, and after digging it, they told Mykola to bury his wife there. After his wife's death, Mykola was completely shattered. Now he was left utterly alone. Those Russian soldiers not only killed his wife, but also burned his unborn child and his house. That is why he was now burning with the fire of revenge. And he was determined to kill the Russian soldier who had shot his wife no matter what. There was only one way to take revenge on that soldier. He had to join the Ukrainian soldiers. That's why, right there, he requests those two soldiers, "Please take me with you. I also want to join the Ukrainian army." After that, both soldiers agreed to Mykola's request and take him to the military base in their vehicle. Before leaving his home, Mykola keeps a small, handmade statue crafted by his wife with him, which she had made for his protection. When they reach the military base, their commanding superior gets angry at the two soldiers for bringing Mykola along after seeing him. He refuses to enlist Mykola in the army since the superior starts suspecting that Mykola might be a spy. When the commanding officer conducted a thorough interrogation of the two soldiers about Mykola, and Mykola also told him the entire harrowing account of how the Russian soldiers brutally killed his wife and burned down his house. "That's why I have no reason left to live," and he convinced the superior that he wants to free this country by killing Russian soldiers. Hearing this, the superior agreed to recruit Mykola into the Ukrainian army, and his training began the very next day. Now, since Mykola was an ordinary person, he faced a lot of difficulties during training. He had spent his entire professional life teaching mathematics and truly knew nothing about firearms. While all the other soldiers were quickly assembling their guns, Mikola was much slower in comparison and was consistently the very last one to finish assembling his weapon. After seeing this, the officer concludes that Mikola will never become a good soldier. But Mikola didn't give up and kept focusing on his training. One night during training, Mikola tells his superior not to call him by his real name because his code name is Raven. Hearing this, everyone started laughing at him, and the superior told him that a code name isn't earned so easily. For that, a soldier has to accomplish something significant for the country. Mikola didn't take these words negatively and started working even harder. At night, when all the soldiers were asleep, Mikola would still practice learning new things. One day, the superior tells all the soldiers that we are short on snipers and we need to increase this number so that we can face the Russians. Here, the superior asks everyone, "How many of you want to become snipers?" Hearing this, a few people stand up, and among them is Mikola, because he also wanted to become a sniper. Seeing Mikola, all the soldiers started laughing. Mikola, seeing him, his superior says, "You are not ready to become a sniper yet. You can't even assemble and disassemble a gun properly. So becoming a sniper is out of the question." To this, Mikola says, "I can become a good sniper. I just need one chance to prove myself." Hearing this, the senior says to Mikola, "Alright, here you go. You have to assemble this gun in just 20 seconds. Now to prove himself, Mikola ties a blindfold over his eyes and quickly disassembles and reassembles the gun, and it only takes him 18 seconds to do it. Everyone is amazed by Mikola's quickness. Those who were laughing at him before now start applauding Mikola. Even the senior is impressed by Mikola, and seeing his abilities, he is now included in the sniper training as well. During training, Mikola is given an old model gun, while the others receive new modern weapons. Seeing this, Mikola also asks for modern weapons, to which the senior there tells him that if he wants that gun, he will have to prove himself. Now Mikola had no other option, so he took what he was given and left. During training, the senior tells everyone that no matter what situation a sniper faces, he does not move an inch from his position and keeps his aim fixed on his target. To practice this, the senior fires bullets near everyone, and any sniper who moves from his position is eliminated from the training. But when it's finally Mikola's turn, he doesn't move an inch from his spot and keeps his aim steady. In this way, Mikola passes the training. In the next training session, the snipers are shown their target only once, and then their eyes are completely covered with a blackboard. During this exercise, they have to carefully estimate and shoot at their target. While some of the other fellow soldiers manage to pass this test, when it is finally Mikola's turn, his aim is just slightly off and he unfortunately fails the test, because the specific gun he was given was quite old and it was very difficult to shoot perfectly with it. But everyone knew that if Mikola had been given a new gun, he would have hit the target perfectly. The next training was even more difficult for those snipers, because they had to shoot their target in the light of a flare, and that too in the darkness of night. Here, the senior fired the flare and everyone took their shot, but no one was able to hit the target. Everyone else had already fired their shot. Now, only Mikola hadn't fired his shot. He realized that it was impossible to aim directly in the light of the flare. So, when the senior fired the flare, instead of shooting, he estimated the distance to his target in the flare's light and used his knowledge of math to make a perfect shot. Seeing this, his senior and the other soldiers were astonished. No one had ever completed this task before, only Mikola managed to do it. The senior was very impressed with Mikola and gave him the codename Raven that he wanted. Days went by like this, and Mikola kept dedicating himself wholeheartedly to his training. And finally, the day arrived when the results of their training were about to be announced. Here, the colonel saluted Mikola and told him that he had passed the test. A few days later, the colonel came to Mikola and told him to pack his things, because they had to go on a mission. News came that some Russian soldiers had taken over a checkpoint, and this is where the real story began. Soon, Mikola's team reached the location and took aim, ready to shoot those Russian soldiers, when suddenly they saw a vehicle in the distance heading towards the checkpoint. Because of this, the colonel told everyone not to shoot. Meanwhile, the Russian soldiers stopped the vehicle and ordered the people inside to come out. They checked their passports and thoroughly searched the entire vehicle. When everything seemed fine, the soldiers allowed them to leave, but kept their passports with them. When those people asked for their passports back, the soldiers beat them badly. Seeing all this, the colonel ordered his soldiers to open fire, and in one swift move, all the snipers took out their respective targets, thus completing their first mission. After the mission, when everyone returned to base, Mikola noticed that many of his comrades were not present at the base. He became worried, wondering where everyone had gone. When he asked where his other comrades were, he was told that they had been sent on another mission. The next day, Mykola received news that many of his comrades who had gone on that mission were killed during the operation, and that all of them had been taken out by a Russian sniper. The sniper's name was Seri, and he was Russia's best sniper. A few days passed like this, and Mykola set out on his next mission with his comrades. Upon reaching the location, they planted mines all around and took up their positions. After a while, Russian soldiers arrived there, and among those soldiers was Evan as well. Evan was the same boy who used to trouble Mykola at school, and now he had joined the Russian army. But as soon as the colonel gave the order to shoot, Mykola became a bit nervous because he didn't want to kill his former student. But then, Mykola sets his emotions aside and shoots directly at the landmines placed there, causing a tremendous explosion that kills all the Russian soldiers, including Evan. After everything is under control, the colonel angrily asks Mykola, "What were you thinking when I gave the order to shoot?" To this, Mykola replies that one of those Russian soldiers was his student. "I didn't want to kill him." Here, the colonel explained to Mykola that he shouldn't feel any sorrow over Evan's death, because here he wasn't your student, but your enemy, and joining the Russian army was Evan's own decision. So you don't need to feel bad for him. After completing the mission, they all returned to their base camp. The colonel had complete trust in Mykola. He spent most of his time with Mykola. Here, the colonel showed Mykola a photo of his family and told him that there are 3 people in his family. Both his daughters are unaware that their father is a soldier. I told them that I do business. And even my wife has never told the children that I am a soldier. Here, Mykola also told the colonel his whole story, how ruthlessly the Russian soldiers killed his wife. During this time, Mykola became quite emotional, but the colonel consoled him. The next morning, they all set out on their next mission. This mission was quite important because they had received information that a group of Russian soldiers was going to pass through that route. The colonel and Mykola quickly reached the location and took up their positions. After a while, they spotted 2 Russian soldiers who were waiting for the rest of their team. Here, Mykola noticed that one of the soldiers was the one who had shot his wife, and he was right in Mykola's sights. At this point, Mykola asked for permission to shoot, but the colonel refused to let him do so. Now Mykola was burning with anger because the soldier standing in front of him had killed his wife, and he had joined the army precisely to take revenge for her. So he asked for permission to fire again, but once more, the colonel refused to allow it. But now Mykola couldn't control his emotions, and he fired the shot. The soldier died instantly from the gunshot, but the bad part was that the Russian soldiers now knew their location. The colonel says to Mykola, "What have you done?" But the worst part was that Russia's most dangerous sniper, whose name was Siri, was also in position, and now he too had learned their location. The colonel also knew that Siri was nearby, so he started searching for Siri, but before he could find his location, Siri gave him a headshot and the colonel died on the spot. Now Mykola realized what a huge mistake he had made. Because of his mistake, the colonel lost his life. Mykola found out that the Russians had discovered their location. Meanwhile, the Russian soldiers also started heavy firing and bombing on Mykola. Seeing the worsening situation, Mykola decided to retreat. He picked up the colonel's body and started moving back from his position. Soon, he made it out of enemy territory and went straight to his base. Mykola was deeply saddened by the colonel's death and blamed himself for it. There, he swore that he would kill Siri and avenge the colonel's death. Soon, Mykola received information about 2 Russian snipers and immediately set out on his next mission. He reached his location and took aim, waiting in position. He quickly took down one sniper, but while doing so, another sniper shot Mykola in the arm. But he didn't give up and somehow managed to take down the second sniper as well. Now, since he was badly injured, he went to a secret base and started to let his body rest for a while. During this time, he received a call from the army major, who told Mykola that they had found the sniper who had killed the colonel. After that, Mykola reached his base, and here the major started telling everyone about the sniper. The major says that the sniper's name is Siri, and he is Russia's best sniper. His aim has never missed so far. Siri has already taken down 6 of the most elite and skilled snipers in Ukraine, so we definitely shouldn't take him lightly. The major explains that Siri first kills Ukrainian soldiers and then records videos of his actions to upload on various social media platforms, specifically so that the other Ukrainian soldiers lose all hope. He says that Siri is a sniper who usually doesn't change his position and instead hunts his enemies from a single, well-hidden specific location. Now, all of them carefully formulate a strategic plan to go to Siri's location by forming 2 separate teams. According to the plan, their first team will attack the Russian soldiers from the front, and while they are busy with this attack, the second team will attack them from behind. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Mykola will enter the building and kill Siri. After all the planning was done, they all set out towards that location. Upon reaching the location, all the snipers took their positions and sat ready, aiming at their targets. Meanwhile, Mykola also quietly entered the building, where he saw two Russian soldiers who were engrossed in conversation. Without wasting any time, Mykola killed both of them and moved further into the building. After that, as per the plan, he signaled his team, and as soon as they received the signal, the sniper stationed there killed all the soldiers. Meanwhile, Siri noticed that none of his comrades were reporting back to him. He sensed that something was wrong, so he went up to the roof of the building where a Russian sniper was already stationed. But when he got to the top and saw the sniper was already dead. Seeing this, his anxiety started to rise. And now Siri realized that the Ukrainian soldiers had surrounded him from all sides. He contacted his base for backup, but the backup team would still take another 10 minutes to reach him. Hearing this, he quickly returned to his position and started searching for the Ukrainian soldiers. But just then, he noticed a small statue placed on the table in front of him, which had actually been put there by Mykola after he had left, and which his wife had given him. Before Siri could process this, Mykola attacked him and stabbed him repeatedly, taking his life. But because of this scuffle, the other sniper present in the building became a bit alert. But before he could do anything, Mykola threw a grenade near him, and in that explosion, the last sniper was also killed. A little while later, the backup team that Siri had called also reached the building, but they were unaware that Siri was already dead. So when they called Siri, it was Mykola who answered the call and told them that they were all going to die, and with that, he shot the truck driver. As soon as the gunshot was fired, chaos broke out among the Russian soldiers, and they all jumped out of the truck. But they were unaware that Ukrainian snipers were lying in ambush, waiting for them. Here, the Ukrainian soldiers opened heavy fire and picked off the Russians one by one. A few days after this mission, Mykola went to his wife's grave. Because he had now fulfilled the promise he made to her, he had killed all those who had murdered his wife and the colonel. Here, Mykola vowed that he would continue to serve his country until his last breath, and with these words, he left from there. And with this, the film comes to an end. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and like the video.